Right now, somewhere on Amazon, there's a tiny group of people typing the exact problem your book solves into the search bar. They know they have the problem, they've decided a book might fix it, and they're looking. And every single author in your niche is crowded around that same little group, fighting over them, undercutting each other, stuffing the same keywords into the same titles, trying to be the one that gets the click. Meanwhile, a much bigger crowd walks right past, same problem, same pain, they just never thought to search for it. The authors who actually win on KDP figured out something the rest never do. They stopped fighting over the people searching, and they learned how to reach the crowd everyone else ignores. That's what this video is about. And by the end, you're gonna see why the keyword you've been obsessing over was never the thing standing between you and sales. So let's start with the two kinds of customers you have, because almost nobody separates them, and the separation is everything. The first kind is the aware customer. This person knows they have a problem and they've already made the leap to thinking a book could solve it. So they go to Amazon, they type it in, and they look at what comes up. These are the people every keyword strategy is built around. And here's the thing, they are real, they do exist, and yeah, you want them to find you. But there's a reason chasing them feels like a grind. There aren't many of them, and you're competing with everyone else for the exact same handful of searches. You are all standing in the same small room. The second kind is the unaware customer, and this is where it gets interesting. This person has the same problem, the exact same pain, but they've never once thought, you know what would help? A book. The idea hasn't crossed their mind, so they're not searching, they're not in that room at all. Now, here's what most people get wrong about this group. They think the unaware customer is just a bigger version of the aware one. Like there's a big pile of people out there who'd buy if only they could find a book. That's not quite it. The real difference is that the unaware person has no intent yet. There's nothing to rank for because they're not looking. You could be the #1 result for every keyword in your category, and this person would never see you because they will never type the words. Ranking is a way to win a race that this entire crowd isn't even running. So if search can't reach them, what does? That's the whole game, and it's simpler than you'd think. Think about the last time you were scrolling, not looking for anything, just scrolling, and a video stopped you cold because it described something you were living. Not a product, a feeling. The person on screen named the exact thing you'd been quietly dealing with, the thing you hadn't even put words to yourself. In that moment, something shifted. You went from not thinking about it at all to really wanting it handled. That's the mechanism. That's how you reach the unaware customer. You don't find their intent because it isn't there yet. You create it. A piece of content that names someone's exact pain point takes a person who had no urgency 30 seconds ago and puts them in the willingness to solve it. They didn't come looking for a solution. The content woke up the problem and the solution arrived right behind it. So when you make content, you don't lead with your book. You lead with the pain. You say the thing your person feels but hasn't articulated. And they freeze because it's like you're reading their mind. That recognition is what hooks them. Not the title, not the cover, not the keyword, the feeling of being seen. But here's the catch, and this is the part you can't skip. You can only name someone's exact pain point if you actually understand the problem. And I mean really understand it, not the surface version. Most authors know their topic the way you know a city you've driven through once. They know it exists. They don't know the backstreets, so when they try to talk about the problem, they say generic things, the obvious stuff anyone could say, and it slides right past people because it doesn't sound like their specific experience. The real pain points live underneath the obvious one, and the only way you find them is by knowing the problem deeply, usually because you've lived it, or you've watched someone close to you live it, or you have done the work to genuinely understand the person who has it. Which raises the obvious question, whose pain points exactly? Because people with this problem is still too broad, and that's the next mistake, and honestly it might be the most expensive one. Most authors build their book for everybody. They take a problem and they try to solve it for the widest possible audience, because more people sounds like more sales, it feels safe. It's actually the opposite. When you build for everybody, you connect with nobody. The book gets vague, the language gets general, the pain points get watered down to the ones everyone shares, which means they're the shallow ones, the ones that don't move anybody. You end up with something technically relevant to a lot of people and genuinely compelling to none of them. The fix is to go the other way. You pick one specific person with one specific problem and you build a product that only that person would ever want. You imagine them so clearly you could describe their day. You know what they've already tried, what frustrated them about it, what they're secretly worried about, and then you build the thing that fits that one person so precisely it feels custom made. Because here's what happens. When that one person finds your book, they don't think it's pretty good. They think this was made for me. And that's the reaction that sells books and gets the reviews and spreads, because the person feels understood at a level that everybody books never reach. Narrow doesn't shrink your market, it's what makes the people in your market actually choose you. So by now you might be looking at your own idea and wondering, okay, is mine specific enough? Is this actually a problem people would pay to solve? Or am I just hoping? The exact question is worth answering before you write a single page, and I built something to help you answer it. It's called the Book Idea Validator. It's a free interactive tool and you can use it anytime you've got an idea you're not sure about. What makes it different is the thinking underneath it. It doesn't start by asking you for a keyword and checking the search volume, because that's backwards. That's starting from what a machine can measure instead of what a human actually feels. It starts where a real entrepreneur starts, with the problem and the person. It walks you through whether you've got a real problem, whether it's specific enough, whether there's genuine willingness to pay to solve it, the same way any serious business decides what to build. Keywords still matter, but as an optimization tool later, not the foundation you build on. I leave it for you to try for free and you can run every idea you have through it from now on. Alright, so let's say you've got it. A real problem, understood deeply for one specific person. There's one decision left that most people make on autopilot, and getting it right is often what separates a book that sells from one that doesn't. When I say create the solution to a problem, what picture shows up in your head? For almost everyone, it's a book full of words, chapters, explanations, how to, and that makes sense because the brain assumes that if someone has a problem, the solution must be worth telling them how to fix it. But that assumption quietly closes off most of your best options, because a lot of the time the words are not the answer. Let me give you an example so we are on the same page. Say the problem you're solving is the person who lies in bed at night and can't switch their brain off. Task running, worry looping, the day replaying. Now, the autopilot move is to write a book about sleep, the science of it, the tips, all words, but watch how many real products that one problem can become. You could make a journal built so that every night before bed they empty their head onto the page, every task, every worry, every loose thought, so it's out of their mind and on paper they can actually rest. You could make a coloring book designed to wind the brain down with a QR code on every page that opens a playlist of calm music to color along to, or you could make a 30-day workbook, one short meditation exercise a day that over a month walks them through clearing out the things keeping them up at night. Same problem, 3 completely different products, and now one of them is a wall of text. The right format isn't a default you fall back on. It's a creative decision you get to make, and you can only make it well once you understand the problem and the person deeply enough to know what would actually help them. And this is exactly how my best-selling book happened. It's an activity book and it's made over $180,000 in 3 years, organically with no ads. But the reason it worked isn't that it's an activity book, it's the specific decisions underneath it. The problem I went after was couples who've grown used to each other. You know the pattern. You've been together a while and slowly everything becomes the same loop. Netflix on the couch, the same restaurant, a bit of shopping, and the spark just quietly fades. It's a real problem. A lot of couples are living in it right now, and almost none of them are searching Amazon for a book about it. They're scrolling, feeling it, with no idea product exists. Now, the lazy solution would have been a date ideas book, just a list, 100 things to do, some text on a page, but who actually cares about that? You can get a list of date ideas off Pinterest or out of ChatGPT in 10 seconds. So I built something specific. 50 date ideas, one every 2 pages. On the left page, the challenge itself with a little personalized icon, a space for the day you did it, the place, room for your notes, and a rating. And on the right page, a big frame space to stick in a photo from that date. That was the whole thing. That one decision is what turned it from a list into a keepsake. Because now it's not a book you read and toss in a drawer. It's a photo album of the experiences you build together, something you fill up over time and keep, something you'd actually pull off the shelf years later. That's the unique selling proposition. Everyone else was selling texts anyone could find for free. I was selling a memory you make yourself. Same category, completely different object. And the object is what people fell in love with. So now you've got the full picture, and look how little of it is about keywords. You find a real problem and you understand it deeply enough to know the pain underneath the obvious one. You pick one specific person and you build something so right for them it feels personal. You choose the format the problem actually needs instead of defaulting to words, and then you reach the people who aren't searching, the whole crowd everyone else ignores, by making content that names their pain so precisely they feel it. And that last part is something you can start doing today. You don't need a finished book. You don't need a following. You don't need anything you don't already have. You can start making the content now, the content that goes out and finds the unaware person and wakes up the problem your book solves. Now, that's the piece people get stuck on, because knowing you should lead with the pain point is one thing, and actually writing content that does it consistently in a way that stops the scroll is a real skill. So if you want to go deeper on that, I put everything I know about it into a course called Content Marketing for Self-Publishers. It's the whole system I use to turn a pain point into content that reaches the people who were never going to search for you. It's there if you want it, and it's the natural next step from everything we just covered. But honestly, even if you never touch the course, take the one idea at the heart of this. Stop fighting over the small crowd that's already searching. The people you're trying to reach aren't the ones typing your problem into a search bar. They are the ones living the problem without realizing there's a way out. And the moment you learn their pain well enough to say it out loud, you stop competing for scraps and you start reaching a crowd nobody else even sees. That's the whole shift. And once it clicks, you don't go back to thinking about KDP the same way again. So go find your person, learn their problem better than they understand it themselves, and build the thing that was made for them. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. It genuinely means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.